theme, some 80s commercial theme with pastel colors.
I have like RGB lights, but they don't like light all the way up. And I'm still yet to like actually finalize and paint my walls yet. So
Where did Caleb go on the camera?
Hey. No, 23. I mean, to be fair, Eric, the rise of fascism, I could understand you thinking it's 1923.
Yeah, it's the 20s all over again.
And we're off.
And we're off.
Welcome to the show.
There's a few things. His
Well, the
only his
transferable,
local.
my transferable carbon credits, I get all of yours, right? From all your big all-wheel drivers.
Yeah.
Good.
You can't get the staff these days. I look forward.
You guys
Yeah.
get paid?
I was about to say, like, what? Oh yeah, your fucking pimento sandwich, Jesus.
It's for the barbecue, I bet.
The interesting turn of events is because because we don't have any dawn, we don't have any dawn rule, so we can jump right into it if we want. Yeah, but it does mean that if dawn does jump in, that we have to enact the dawn rule from when she jumps in. This is how it works. That's fine. So there has been some stuff happening in Eve. Apparently there was a fight. Like I was asked by a friend who, as to where I was in X-47, and I said logged off in a yacht. I don't think he. I think he was expecting me to be more involved. I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think you were involved, Soph, were you?
What? Me logging in?
It doesn't. Yeah. Oh yeah, the live stream that was going on. Yeah, so if you didn't see it, we did have a live stream up on the channel, like, so you can kind of check that VOD if you want to, you know. But we're going to talk. We're probably going to talk a little bit about it, and I think there's a meta show. I'm fairly certain there's probably going to be a meta show today, and they're going to go over it like pretty significantly. So yeah, there will definitely be. There will definitely be some analysis of it.
I'm muted again.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably whole beginning of the show. Again. Muted. Pimento cheese sandwich. It's pimento cheese sandwich's fault.
So I mean, cross off the food section with the sandwich and the technical difficulties with the mute. Good.
Yeah, this is the Master Edition. That's why Eric, is wearing his green jacket because, of course, I am a Masters winner and a member of Augusta, of course. That'd be the only way I would get a green jacket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Completely false on all accounts.
You are looking sharp today with the jacket.
Yeah, got the golf shirt. By the way, you can't really see it, but these have little inverted martini glasses on the golf shirt. This is my martini glass golf shirt. And you know what? If I go out to dinner today, I think I'm gonna have a martini.
Nice.
Very sports commentator like.
Yeah.
What? Having a martini?
No, your clothing, your whole setup looks like
I
you're
am.
about to talk about
Really.
football.
I'm not really imitating a member of Augusta. I'm really trying to just be as cool as Jim Nantz. That's just all I'm gonna say. If you guys know anything about American sports announcers, Jim Nantz is just cool. You know, he's awesome.
Is he essentially he's the gold standard?
I really think even historically people say like Howard Cosell and all these crazy people. No freaking way. Jim Nantz, baby. He's the best.
That's fair.
Personal opinion. By the way, I'm going in for more pimento cheese sandwich. So good. By the way,
I swear to God, you guys
cheese isn't like a cheese, right? It's like sharp cheddar cheese. I think a little maybe Monterey Jack, some pimento peppers. You know,
I always wonder
because like mayo. I think.
Because I was thinking this like yesterday as well, kind of going through the supermarket and stuff. Like, you guys have types of cheeses that like we don't have in the UK, and it's not like, you know, we can't get any imports or can't like potentially make the same sort of stuff. Like, and to some degree, like, you know, a lot of the sort of cheeses that you have are like, you know, it's basically sort of cheeses that are coming from or that like originated from like, say, you know, European countries as well. And it's like, I don't understand why. Like, I mean, I know it's not kind of the same, but I was looking for like some kind of like Mexican cheese at one point, like a fuck, what is it called? I think
the
it's like
white cheese that they have.
It's
so good.
It works the other way around
cheese
as well, though. Like, we have cheeses that they literally can't get that are banned in the US.
Well, yeah, because, you know, the Food Standard Agency or the, you know, whatever in the US is like has some very strange ideas.
Yeah. Now remember, pimento cheese isn't a cheese; it's a cheese spread combination, right? You take sharp cheddar, little Monterey Jack, some pimento peppers, some other spices and things, and mayo, and the cheeses are shredded, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. Let me open it up.
I wonder whether it's just like
kind of looks like this.
I wonder whether it's like is it a make? Is it a name? Is it a name of a cheese that's based around a make? Like, is it a, you know, like,
use your words.
Like
what
Lay's.
Is the origin of
no.
the name?
I'm just thinking, like, you know, is it like Lay's when it comes to chips? You know, in the US kind of thing, like, you know, or, you know,
no pimento because
that kind of thing. Like, is pimento is a type of cheese rather than just
pimento
a manufacturer?
Is the pepper that is in the cheese.
Okay.
Pimento peppers. You know the little red peppers they have with like green olives?
Yeah.
Yeah, pimento peppers.
Oh, okay.
It's a southern thing. They love it.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it's nice of you to help Mac and suggest some cheeses and stuff and imports that he can actually get, because where he lives, the BLT sandwich is now just the B sandwich.
That was a while back. That was a little while back. We do actually have some stuff coming in from, you know, overseas.
And to be fair,
to bolster it.
You could instead of tomatoes put turnip on it. I mean, where's the difference, right?
Not really. Good God.
Turnip?
I'm not a fan of turnips at all. Like, it's kind of like...
I think Soth is about to try and reinvent the BLT sandwich for you.
Like turnips have a weird sweetness to them, like, that I'm just not agreeable with, like, for some reason.
And tomatoes don't have the sweetness to them.
Yeah, but I'm used to, like, it's not like I'm not used to sweet stuff. Like, look at me, for fuck's sake. Like, you know, it's a case of, like, they have a strange sweetness. Like, I can't explain it.
So
obviously, yeah.
And
there's also cream cheese and pimento cheese.
God, can
Oh no, I just
You-
buy it in a tub and spread it
goddamn-
on a sandwich, okay? Or the crackers. Crackers. Man, I went through
Mhm.
half a box of Triscuits the other night, just pimento cheese and a Triscuit. So good. I'm a fan
Brisket?
of the Triscuit. Mm-hmm.
Turkey brisket?
No, Triscuit. It's a cracker.
Oh, okay. Let me guess. Oh, hang on.
It's like a wheat-based.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So that's
It looks like
so. Unlike pimento cheese, Triscuit is actually the name of a brand.
yeah, it's a brand.
Yeah, so that's kind of why. Like,
Ever,
I have no idea what Triscuit is. We don't have that brand over here in the UK.
You know, like the shredded
But
wheat
it's
breakfast
like, yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Shredded wheat for breakfast. It's kind of shredded wheat made into a cracker.
Into like
with
a-
woven.
like a-
It's like woven. You know, they
Yeah.
and a little salt. You know, it's good. It's good stuff. I like them. Of course, you know, I'm one of those strange people who actually like grape nuts as a cereal.
Okay.
You know what grape nuts are?
No.
It's a brand.
See, that's the thing.
There
That's
are
the thing.
no grapes.
That's not how
By
that
the way,
works.
there are no grapes, and I'm pretty sure there's no nuts. Okay,
Fucking hell.
it's great. I love it though, but you got to put sugar
It's
on
like-
it or fruit.
Why did I this is
Hmm.
why would you name it that?
I don't know.
Is it because that's the two ingredients that you probably want to add to it in order for it to actually be edible?
No. I would do more strawberries,
Yeah.
blueberries.
I mean, that's literally what they have on the front of the pack.
If you go to like grapenuts.com,
Yeah, no, I see the front of the packet. Like I had to
sounds
Google
like
it to figure out what the
crap.
fuck it is.
I know, me too. It also, you can warm it up, and it's hard and crunchy until it gets all,
And
It's all
until you leave
soggy.
it for a bit.
yeah, it gets all.
See, and this is the thing. Like, you know, people talk about like muesli as being
I wanna know
fucking
what's in it.
terrible. But the thing is, like, a lot of people who think muesli sucks because it's dry and everything like that, like, you have to leave it for a bit.
Wait, what? Muesli is the shit, man. Who says
Exactly, it's fucking
bad?
lovely. Like, the thing is, a lot of people, dude, a lot of people like think that muesli is like dry and horrible, but that's because they literally put some in a bowl, put milk, and immediately try and eat it, and it's like,
Like depending on what muesli you get, you can actually do that.
well, I mean, I'm going with like the usual typical like Alpen kind of style of thing, right?
Yeah, I like
you have to
mine
leave
with,
that.
like nuts and
Yeah, nuts and fruit and that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
like dried fruits.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that shit, like, you should just leave it for like 10 minutes, if
Yeah.
not more,
grape
before
nuts
you
are
actually
just
have it.
whole grain wheat flour, malted barley flour, salt, dried yeast, and just vitamins and minerals added. That's it.
I'm half expecting that this company that makes grape nuts is gonna come make another like fucking cereal called D's Nuts. I expect
No, but
it
it's
in
awesome.
some way,
I
shape,
love
or
grape
form.
nuts.
The chat would like you to explain Rice Krispies next.
Oh,
Puffed
for
rice,
fuck's sake.
baby.
Puffed.
The
Well,
only way
since we-
Rice Krispies are good with about a tub of sugar on them, or that's the alternate. I hate Rice Krispie treats with the marshmallow. It's the peanut butter Rice Krispie treats.
See, the thing is, Seema, like, I've heard that, but I've also heard that attributed to cornflakes as well.
By the way, the really where I really like grape nuts is like in yogurt. Grape nuts, a little topping for your yogurt. Phenomenal, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you need to get yourself some quark. You still haven't gotten some quark.
No, but that's not by not trying, because I have looked and yeah.
Frosted Flakes really don't have the sugar they used to in the 70s. It's very sad.
You got
70s,
fucking
80s.
Aldi. Just go to Aldi and get some.
I'll actually, I haven't. We do have an Aldi nearby, so I will like pop in and see what they have there.
Even
Kind of
I
stuff.
have
like,
an Aldi nearby.
you
Yeah,
know.
so you know what to do.
There you go.
Put a quarter in.
I bet you know what, like you know what's going to happen. He's going to go to Aldi and he's like, it's going to be completely different to your Aldi, and my Aldi is probably going to be completely different to yours as well. That's what it's going to be like. I'm certain of it, but you know, we'll see.
Kumquat,
we'll
gin,
have a go.
and lemonade. I hate gin.
That's fair.
By the way, we don't.
One thing,
really
actually,
eat much cereal here.
So
in
one
our
thing that is, I was gonna say, like, in terms of like cornflakes, like that actually makes a really good a really good coating for like chicken.
Yeah.
We take cornflakes, we coat it around a scoop of ice cream, and we deep fry it.
Ooh, interesting.
Then you take it out, and a little cinnamon and honey on top, drizzled. Often
And then you
sold
stick,
in
and then
Mexican restaurants
you
as Mexican.
and then you sandwich it between 2 layers of bacon.
You know,
And that'll be the most American thing.
I bet you bacon wouldn't be too bad, but it's more of a Mexican restaurant thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I was just like, oh, like we're deep frying it. Oh, we're frying it. Oh, and we're putting bacon on it, like probably in some way, shape, or form. And then adding some kind of cheese.
Bacon on a
American
pimento
chef
cheese
now.
sandwich wouldn't be bad. I think that would be good.
I'm just thinking, like, how can this be Americanized? And like, well,
Wrap it in bacon, deep fry it, add a lot of sugar.
add sugar or some kind, add sugar or
It's got honey.
Some kind of cheese to it in some way, shape, or form as well. Like,
It's already got sugar.
That's how you do it.
It's already got honey, cinnamon.
You're missing a part there.
Some form of cheese.
I've been to KFC for the first time the other day.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh
I'm sorry for you.
Sorry.
Yeah,
they've gone to.
I mean, I was raised on that shit when it was good, but yeah.
I really doubt that it was ever, actually the best chicken you've ever had. Because
no, it won't be.
Yeah, no.
Well, see, I don't like the original recipe. That's just too greasy for me. A little too peppery.
You know what I saw, which was kind of interesting.
Extra crispy. Do you have the extra crispy option there?
What was the thing that I saw? No, I don't think so.
And they used to have it, but they don't have it. They used to have rotisserie chicken there too. Rotisserie chicken. Man.
There was a cool.
I went for the 3 pieces thing. Right.
Okay.
You got the thigh, the drumstick, and the breast.
You didn't go for a double down. I think it's what it's called. Is it called a double down? I think that's what it's called.
No, I was going for something simple so I can.
Yeah, though that's fair because that's.
Not a fan of their coleslaw either. Not enough cream.
Where is it?
But
not enough dressing on that.
I gotta say they put a lot of salt in that.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
They put a lot of salt in that. Like
Southern fried chicken
seriously.
Salty? No, never.
Although I don't know whether they do it over there when you got it, like, but over here in the UK, strangely enough, like in KFC, like one of the more redeeming qualities of KFC is they don't salt their fries. They kind of let you salt your fries however much you want, which is great comparatively. Which is great comparatively to like some of the other kind of places that like fucking heavily salt like fries to the point it's just literally horrible.
You gotta salt fries when they come right out of the fryer.
Yeah, you
I mean, I can understand that, yes, but like if you are dumping half a fucking kg of salt onto the fries, then I would rather not actually. If the option was unsalted fries or a couple of fries in my salt, I would probably have the unsalted fries and just deal with it.
I like more than salt on my fries, to be honest.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I shared this experience with my wife. So occasionally I travel for work and things like that. One of my colleagues and I were at dinner with Chris, right? Perfect steak, beautiful.
Mm.
To me, when the steak arrived on the plate, it was already a little salty. Okay. Wasn't overly salty, wasn't terrible, just a little bit salty. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I eat it, it's fine. I mean, it's not overly salty, but it is salted, right? This guy slices off a piece of steak, it lays on its side. He salts it, and then he eats it. Then he slices off another piece. He resalts it, and he eats it. I'm like, dude's got to be eating so much salt. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I am not add
And
salt
that
to
is
my
not
food
good.
very rarely. I will add salt to soups where I make it with a lot of vegetables, right?
Mm.
Just because it'll just be too sweet. I got to add a little bit of salt to that, but
I've
sure
like
to that.
started
A little
salt.
bit to
I've
meat, but not a lot.
I've started like dry salt brining meats before actually cooking them, kind of thing. It's like actually works really fucking well.
As it gets in there.
I can very much recommend that. Yeah.
But yeah,
I gotta remember.
There are other things to put flavor into something than salt and pepper,
MSG.
I mean, MSG is unironically a good option to get flavor.
I mean,
into
it's basically
into
salt on.
vegetables.
It's basically salt on crack. That's what it is.
Nah, it's
I
very.
mean,
it works very differently.
I mean, that's how Uncle Roger, describes it. So and he's pretty on point with that stuff. Oh. Oh yes. Mm.
How am I muted? Okay, so I'm going to start it all over. Okay, so I just posted the GoFundMe in there for DBRB's fundraiser for kids at middle school, right? And he's doing a really, really, really great thing there, and something I truly believe in when it comes to kids. That when they're involved in sports or anything organized, they just learn things that they can't learn in the classroom. I'm a big proponent of sports. Teach you things that you don't learn other ways, So he's really organizing a bunch of kids who really, their families really don't have money to buy anything. If you read what's going on, and as I read that paragraph, that's really not made up. I've seen that in lots of schools here, in lots of neighborhoods and things like that. So it's something I truly believe in. Even if you have, $5, you don't have to, donate. But if you do, I'm going to probably throw that up there 3 times. I'll throw it up in the middle of the show and the end of the show. But yeah, I donated yesterday when I realized that's why he was streaming a couple of weeks ago. I didn't realize that, and so I just want to throw it out there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, he was talking about it. Yeah, he had to drive a kid home from school because he's about to walk home in the snow in slides. Absolutely, that stuff happens in the inner city. It just does. I don't know. I can tell you, that's where part of our company delivers, right? That's part of our delivery zone for a certain company that you can buy online for. Yeah, you'd be amazed at what you see when you drive through those areas. I get it. They do get a lot of funding and everything for the families and things like that. But there's other problems in there that make it hard for things to happen for those kids, and anything that you can do to keep those kids organized. And reaching toward an athletic goal and things like that. I think it's amazing. So that's my spiel. I personally bought them all Page Spearneck towels so they can keep the sweat off their faces. So that's all. That's not what I did. I did that for my children. The boys, not the girl. So, You guys all seem so glum now. I'm going through that little thing. So I think it's an amazing thing that DBRB is doing.
I think we're trying very hard not to comment on the state of your country.
Yep. We are really not fighting on this US bashing troll.
Trying to be positive on that front.
So yeah, guys, it's a big deal. I know Brisk donated as well.
So just a quick kind of thing.
Way,
you don't find Caleb. You tempt Caleb. Like, this is the thing.
No.
You trigger
Caleb. You don't hunt, do you, Brisk?
Okay.
Caleb is like a foot fungus. Okay, no.
What
Caleb,
happened?
You're like a foot fungus. You just show up.
Yeah, but I have to
explain.
I have to explain to Brisk why I ended up showing up. It was literally because McLeod triggered me by coming in and asking when we were hanging out in voice and said, "Would you not come and talk to me a little bit about crypto coin and
oh yeah, no, that was the initial thing that, like, I was, Hilmar dropped this thing about fucking whatever his fucking project is about, and I was like, I want to tear this thing asunder, like by any and every means possible, but I need to know as much as much as I can, like, before I start doing this.
I think we succeeded in ripping it apart, right? It was a very entertaining show.
I kind of felt like we went pretty thorough through the whole thing.
My favorite is he asked if he could be on the show again today. I'm like, what the fuck? You're in the goddamn list as co-host.
Well, that's because
pop in.
I have to also explain this. This is because of the way that INN actually works, right? It works by a very evil autocratic delegation. So Hilmar actually dropped an interview, I think it was yesterday.
Is that what you call it?
Did he tweet it, or was it like just something that somebody found?
And I think it was tweeted out. And what happens then is, of course, then it gets into the hand of the editorial staff of INN. And then that stuff gets delegated because the bosses do not want to sit through almost an hour and a half of Hilmar stuff. So that ended up on my table for some reason. So I was going through all of that.
Somebody dropped it at you. Somebody dropped it in your lap and was like, "Deal with this," and you were like, "Oh God."
Because that certain someone said, "I'm not watching this in its entirety. You have to do that." And I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And then it's actually very relevant to last week. So
it's relevant to last week. Yeah, it's relevant to last week because it's talking about, like, his project that he's got going with Andreessen Horowitz and other steadfast and very, very responsible investors like Nexor.
They sound like a bad law firm, Andreessen and Horowitz.
I mean, they are. They're an investment. They're a high-profile capital investment firm. Yeah, but they're also striving to go into crypto as well. Well, like they've done it. Striving.
They've already done it multiple times, and they've already. They didn't money grab themselves. They pushed the people they invested in to money grab, right? To do these weird schemes.
They're beautiful. Their kind of shtick at this point in time is like, invest in like crypto games kind of thing, or invest in sort of some avenue that is associated with crypto, and by just sheer happenstance and chance, I guess, like, it's just happened to be this kind of way that there a bunch of people who are part of Andreessen Horowitz are on the boards of particular crypto exchanges.
What a coincidence, right?
I'm going to age myself a little bit. This is just the next generation of good old gold trader websites and stuff like that. It's just another new scam train in town.
Yep.
But it just, these people who are, on the boards and, obviously getting dividend payments from these, crypto exchanges definitely don't have any particular specific desire to have those crypto exchanges get more and more business because, they're peddling, these kind of weird startups and projects that end up basically crashing and burning eventually. But what Caleb was talking about prior to us jumping into that particular area was the fact that there's an hour and is it like an hour and whatever, like hour
15
and
minutes. Hour and
hour
15,
and-
I think.
Oh,
yeah, hour and 15 minutes of Hilmar talking
Extremely vaguely about the new
vaguely
project.
about all sorts of different things, including the project, and also talking about EVE Online very vaguely and somewhat inaccurately in many different ways, and using all the usual anecdotes, and that kind of thing that he's used previously.
Slightly
it's like
modified and updated, but yes, it's very similar anecdotes. But he's basically trying to explain EVE Online to these two guys that are conducting the interview, and it's a little bit of a mess because he ends up relaying all these anecdotes in kind of awkward ways, in my opinion.
Oh, and he makes a lot of parallels, which are or comparisons, which are lackluster. Would you say, Caleb, or would you say
they're just a little bit off? It's like he's trying to explain a lot of things in a very compressed amount of time, and it just comes off as a little bit stumbling. Like he's explaining like the problems with emergent gameplay behavior way back in like year 1 of EVE Online with jet canning and stuff like that. And then he's trying to explain legal tender and what money is in a very limited amount of time, and he kind of ends up stumbling, and I don't think he's really getting it across. It doesn't seem like the guys are actually understanding where he wants to go with that. He's basically trying to explain how what drives modern money, like actual real money, is no longer a backed currency, so it can't be exchanged for anything in particular. It's what we call a fiat currency, and that's really only backed by the fact that states have laws that say that you have to accept this as cash money. So that's where the legal tender term comes from, right? A shop in America can't say no to US dollars. They are required to take it.
Nope. Well, incorrect.
Fundamentally, if they are conducting business, like if they register a business and conduct business, they are required to take that as legal payment.
Well, they're not required to take cash.
No, but like it doesn't have to be cash,
Germany,
but like it's
in Germany they are.
Originally, that was the intent, but yeah, you can just speak
some form of American dollar, like.
And that's the funny bit. In Germany, when you want to troll the authorities, you just ask to pay everything you are meant to pay in cash.
Well,
because you
the
have a
point
right
really is
to
about
pay everything in cash.
The point really is
like
about
the Blues Brothers in New York, right? Trying to play the Penguins back taxes.
Well, the point is, as cash money, as mode of payment, the legal tender term is what gives the money its utility. That it is agreed that people in a country trade in that type of money, right? So in the past, there was an agreement that you could always exchange this back for, say, gold or silver, depending on whether the storage was like gold in America in Fort Knox or sterling in silver in England, right? That was what secured the value of the money. That was removed at Bretton Woods when everyone started doing only fiat currency. So the way that money is now having its utility is primarily by law and by the productivity of the country. So that is what safeguards the policy, financial policy about how to issue bonds and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
when you
but, like-
when you have a certain type of money, it's still worth its value as long as the currency hasn't defuncted completely in the country.
Yeah, but the sticking kind of the sort of like the sticking kind of aspect of those currencies is the fact that, like, you know, people live, you know, people are citizens of that country and are likely to, you know, don't have the velocity that we do in, you know, when it comes to sort of playing games, to just chop and change or just not partake in this or not partake in that kind of thing. Like, you live in a country, you know, aspects of your life, aspects of you living, you know, are tied, you know, very very intimately into that country, and
So
you
the
can't
country's
just just not partake in that, like, you know.
Exactly.
So that's where that's where that value, where that utility comes from. That is not that just isn't available. It just isn't like that's you know, that's tangible in an actual game, like
And
in
that's
any
really
kind of
what.
game or any online stuff. Right?
Well,
I
usually
can if I want. I live in a free country.
usually,
Whoa, wild
usually
horrendous. Welcome,
You
welcome.
think? Do you really?
the point that Hilmer was trying to make is that fundamentally and at the core of it, there is no real difference between Icelandic krona and ISK in EVE Online when it comes to how it's basically being used, right? So the thing that gives the money value in EVE Online is really its utility. Then we can talk about how new money is created and all that, but then we just get down a rabbit hole that we should stay out of.
I was gonna
So-
say, because like
So
does-
what you're
there's some
saying
issues with
is
that.
people in Iceland are actually, you know, driving out with their cars to kill some rats in a belt to make some money.
No, I think what Hilmer was trying to hint at is the fact that if you look at the 2007-2008 period, EVE Online was more balanced and regulated when it comes to the actual money system, and he was not entirely wrong.
Maybe then, when
Okay,
you know,
but last time I
just
checked,
prior
I
to the
can't
subprime
use-
mortgages.
Just
I can't
you know,
use
kinda
ISK
like
to buy food.
just a few years
mean-
ago, you know, roughly 15.
There was a moment, horrendous, just very quickly, that you could purchase alcohol with ISK.
Well, and again, you could say that Icelandic kronas can't
For
really
a
buy
very brief
cucumbers, right? It's really about what is available for the currency that you have.
Yeah, and then
Uh-huh.
So,
but you know, then CCP stopped basically allowing players to purchase beers with ISK at FanFest.
so,
So it was a very short period of time. But Sothra still was going to say something, I believe.
oh, Soth, go ahead. I'll go next.
We
Am
kind
I?
of like jumped over.
You're on,
We
brother.
jumped over him.
Well, I
But, like,
think the
if
point
not,
is
then
that what Anrendis is hinting at is that the money in game does not have an out of game utility, except when people break the rules, right? I personally have a friend that bought a laptop for ISK, but I'm not sure that's entirely allowed.
No, see, what I was getting at is that Hilmar has been trying for decades now to draw equivalence between video game currency and real currency, because he's got this play to earn bug up his ass where he wants everything to basically be able to play Eve so you can pay your rent. And that's just not going to work.
Yeah, and that whole grind fest and stuff aside, the point is that very early on, Eve was getting that developing gray market. The fact that things inside the game, because of the nature of persistent worlds, is that gets a value. It has a value to the people that play that game, and that value can be actually transferred outside of game, right? So the example I was giving is that I think this was back in 2005 or something. where my friend ended up paying in ISK to one of my other friends to buy a laptop. And of course, that's not allowed, but it's just showing you that the value of the ISK for the guy that was time poor made it so the transfer was valid.
Sure, but given
ahead.
that, given the nature of ISK and the limited application it has, that's really more of a barter situation.
Sure, because there's no real control of
And not
cross
just that it's
exchange, right?
not just that it's no real control, but there's no broad interoperability. There's no this is universally accepted as value. And that's the
No,
thing
of
with
course.
money is that money, however it's gotten there, money in the real world has universally accepted value.
Well, this is why it's relevant when Hilmer then starts trying to explain when the Plex system got introduced and how that carries a functional utility value that is measurable outside of the game, which is also why after that period is when we start getting all these reports of $100,000 battles and all that stuff, because
Sure.
it is a relatable valuation, even though there is no exchange going on. But again, it's funny that he mentions Africa because, well, the Zimbabwe currency compared to, say, a time unit on their mobile phones, one is pretty trustworthy, the other is not. And it's the same as with all game universes. As long as these things are not regulated and controlled, you don't know what the actual utility value is. And the only way that we got this stability, even though it's fake in EVE Online, is because of the Plex system that basically became ISK's gold standard, right? So we know what the Plex gives us in utility, in man hours, and all that stuff. So you can then measure out an exact ISK $2 equivalent, right? So that really is why when we have all this gray market stuff that people want to exchange one utility for another, even though it crosses from in-game to out-of-game, this has real value. And we've seen this since the early days of online games. Online assets have real world value, regardless of whether we don't allow that to happen. So it's
Right,
always been a gray market.
But you don't you don't really need something like Plex for that. I mean, gold sellers existed in EQ before CCP even got started. So
Yeah, they did. I'm just saying that it was not backed. When you're trading that outside in the gray market, of course you will have a price finding agreement between the traders, but there's no real utility backing it. But with ISK, there is, because that can always be used to purchase the Plex, that can then be used to get the utility that is an actual real utility, regardless of where the level of sinks and faucets are in the game.
but what's the real utility of Plex? Game time?
Yeah,
That's
game
not real
access.
utility.
It is utility. That is the utility that's backed.
That's
You
still
get access to the
but
service.
that's still in-game utility.
No,
That,
no, 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 no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no. No, it's not. It's out of game, Arendis. It's an out of game
because
agreement between you and CCP to get access to the game.
yeah,
So it is a real value.
the valuation of the in-game activity is put into an actual real-world value now because you pay real-world money for game access.
We just can't trust that
Or at
equates to a
least-
certain level of
Yeah.
ISK in game, because that can fluctuate based on how much the sinks and faucets are broken, right?
Yeah, because that immediately affects how much
Well,
value is in Eve, and therefore consequently how much ISK or Plex is in game.
But it is all those things that Hilmer has a little bit of a dream of trying to create. And as I said to Mac before we started, I think the first step is actually being skipped here, because it may be a game experience problem that you can start doing play to earn, but it would be really nice and fair if it was legal and controlled and regulated to exchange different games' currencies. Back to when Arendis mentioned the gold sellers. For money, maybe not, but it would be cool if I could exchange X amount of ISK in EVE Online with Mac, and he could then sell me X amount of gold in World of Warcraft or New World or something like that. Because that's virtual for virtual. And the fact that we don't have a cross-world currency exchange, I think is a problem, because that would really give us the utility of money. Just like when we're tourists and we go to another country, then I will exchange my local money for their local money. And this is really what we need, because when I'm not playing EVE Online, that means that I would like access to money in a different currency.
That's great, but no. Like that's an objectively horrible idea, man.
I just gave you the argument with comparing it to real life legal tender for legal tender, and you just say no with no other argument.
I'm telling you, it's an objectively horrible idea. And here, let me explain to you why that's an objectively horrible idea. Okay.
Okay, good.
I know somebody who, playing ESO, just doing their daily crafting writs, has amassed an amount of money that in ESO would effectively be like 10 trillion ISK in EVE, comparatively to average economic activity. Now, this person has an ungodly number of alts, okay? But where is the value for EVE players for someone like that to be able to come in and effectively manipulate the EVE economy?
But it's not really changing anything, because the money.
It is because
it really is.
Let me make my fucking argument. The money has not left the game or in any way done anything except changed hand inside the game. So from that game's economy's point of view, it doesn't change anything. It just moves from one character in that game to another. So saying that that's bad, that's really just saying that that character holding on to it and thus following that money is a positive pseudo sync. It's really not an argument for the whole problem with cross currency, because there's nothing that's changing except for the cross-currency exchange rate. This is similar to when Germans were buying pesos back in the day. The cross-currency valuation.
So just a quick thing. Just a quick thing. Like, so in this scenario, right? Like, somebody is transferring money from ESO into EVE Online, right? Like, they're taking their ESO currency, they're converting it into some form of currency that they can, some form of electronic sort of information that they can transfer into EVE Online. What's being created that allows them to, like, so
nothing is being created.
So how is that ESO? How is that ESO? How is that stuff from ESO?
No, you're missing the point.
What's being created
nothing is being created. That's my point.
So what does that new person have to exchange for ISK in game?
Jesus Christ. Okay.
It's just being created.
Hold on. When you call me, I answer.
Because if you're taking something external and putting it into the game,
it's not external. It's not external. It's just being traded on that market. So you buy.
What's being traded on that market? What's being traded on that market?
One guy is selling World of Warcraft gold for ISK on the exchange. That's the only thing. So it's like if Soth takes his Deutsche Mark and buys pesos, there's no new pesos or Deutsche Mark created or destroyed anywhere. They're just changing hands.
Okay, so
somebody needs to figure out like what an ESO kind of gold is worth to an ISK.
Depends on how you're buying that currency. But
I mean.
The issue here that I can see is the fact that like every single virtual currency in various different games have only ever had to consider their game as the valuation for the currency that they have. Whereas now they have to evaluate. Sorry.
In some way, we already have this though. Just what's missing is the ease of use, right? because you can already trade Plex in EVE, and you can already trade the game tokens in WoW. So you could argue that you can already trade ISK and gold.
Yeah, you just
Exactly,
can't
because
do
I
it
can-
officially.
No,
You-
because
you
I
can't-
can gift you
Well,
a time token, right?
Because I can go, oh, I'll give you X plex for X for Y kind of tokens in WoW, right? Like,
Yeah.
but there's no official way of doing that.
Yes,
like
there
that would
is
have
an
to be a
official way
gentleman's
of doing
agreement.
it. There is an official way of doing it, and that's buying Plex for money and buying tokens for money, and then
Oh yeah, that's
exchanging
like
it that
yeah.
way.
Okay,
Right?
there's
But
that way. Yeah.
that's not exactly the same thing, because then you
No,
kind of
that is
launch.
the exact
No,
same
no,
thing, because the shops are
Can I
your
make my point?
exchange.
Can I make my point? You
let
can't-
me
Can
finish
can
here.
can
can't
can,
use it
anyone
without
else
using
make
it.
theirs,
can
Caleb?
Sothrasel make his point first?
He's missing the step that if I give you a Plex, I can only gift it to you legally if I use it.
What? No.
But you didn't
Yeah.
say that.
But that's the only way it's done legally. It's by gifting.
Says who?
What?
Well,
No.
because otherwise it's grey market exchange.
Gray market.
It is.
So
Are there Mimbari involved?
if I give Soth a gift of Plex, it doesn't. That
But you
doesn't
can do
insist
on the
that
Plex.
I use it.
You can do on the
Right, but
the
that
next
doesn't require anyone to actually use the Plex, Caleb.
No, but okay. The point is that legally you're allowed to gift playtime in these games, right? I can Plex Sauce account without anyone asking any questions. But if I send him the equivalent of $500 in Plex, that is considered questionable and grey market, because it's very likely that
Is
I'm
it?
getting something.
No, not
somewhere
at all.
else.
No, it's
You,
not.
you are talking to someone who once a year literally sits on over 100,000 Plex that people send to him.
And that's
I
fine.
have
I'm
not
just
been
telling you that
investigated by CCP ever.
CCP will look at transfers that are of a certain scale, because it can actually be grey market illegal exchange and trade.
But yeah, they can look at it, but they don't have unless they
About the other side of the transaction, it never happened.
I can't
They
see
can
how
look
they can ever see the other side of the transaction unless
they can look at my Plex transfers all they want. If they go asking my bank for information about my transactions, I'm going to sue their asses.
Well, the point is that they have the right to just ban your account, no questions asked.
Of
No,
course,
of course
they
they
do.
do.
Yeah.
And I have the right to
To appeal and
publicly
if
make a
you,
fuss about
yeah.
it and give them all sorts of bad PR.
yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about. The difference is that if they suspect actual real money trade, they will potentially ban your account.
Okay, but what are they going to actually suspect a real money trade over? The fact that I moved a bunch of Plex?
Well, I can
Yeah,
donate
they-
you a Titan, but CCP is going to look at this very weirdly if there's no exchange
not.
going on. Fine.
They can't.
Yeah,
even
they're-
You
Here,
have to make
here,
a
so-
large
so-
assumption leap
Caleb,
of
So
let me
the
give
funny
you,
thing
let
about
me give you a
this-
great example of no, they're not going to look at a Titan askance. Okay? I know people who have quit the game. I have all their stuff. This includes super capitals, multiple, faction super capitals. CCP
Whoa.
has never blinked an eye at it.
That's because your account is 1,000,000 years old, and CCP does not expect that there is illegal shenanigans going on. That it's not necessarily RMP.
shenanigans. That's why
that
I'm
doesn't
smoking
mean
a cigar.
anything.
We're in the back room now.
It just means that, like, you know, potentially RMT can be run rife through, you know,
Through older accounts.
through older accounts, and that's quite scary, considering that, like, there's no oversight.
I don't know exactly how the algorithms work in CCP, and they don't really want to tell us about it. And I don't know how they run this security, but we all know that they do. And I think some people might actually be flagged, or rather unflagged, permanently, because they are holding accounts like Arendis. And those accounts affiliated are not getting suspect flags because they're not new accounts. So
All
him
right.
buying is not
I
necessarily.
think this
All
is
right,
the
hold up.
push to
I'm
talk,
gonna give you a
jump to
counterexample.
conclusions.
I'm gonna give you a counterexample there, Caleb. And I can do it with 2 words. Brisk Rubal.
I remember something triggered about Brisk.
Oh, no.
No, that was somebody holding a grudge, being a dick.
That was
Yeah.
somebody
on
holding a
CCP's
grudge
payroll.
where Brisk wasn't even the guy holding the Titan at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CCP does not have accounts dedicated non-flagged as trusted account. That doesn't happen. There are no trusted accounts.
They just you know,
They just can't be bothered most of the time.
Well, I do get the feeling that, and I'm going to say that this is just my feeling that they are more focused on things like automation abuse and bugs than they are of RMT, and that has always been the case.
Yeah.
It
Well, even in
feels
the
to me like
interviews.
they
Sure,
are
but that
very
doesn't-
lax in their security when it comes to RMT
Well,
trading.
even in
Sure,
the interview,
but that applies across the board.
yeah, even in the interview, Humar alluded to that, right? There's an outside exchange of currency for items in game, making them have value that they can't control or understand or even manage.
The thing is, when it like if we're getting kind of in the realms of RMT, obviously, like and talking about it, like and how prevalent RMT could potentially be, like it's very much a function of how popular a game is, because you know if you are trying to like do something really nefarious with RMT, then you need to like do that at a scale that is under the radar. And you know, if you say, for example, are trying to do a laundering operation through, you know, some kind of virtual currency, whether it's, you know, in Eve, whether it's in WoW or whatever, right? You can launder money, like more money through the system, so long as it's under the radar, or like, you know, so long as the amount that you're kind of laundering is like, you know, falls under the radar. And the you know, if you're trying to use like EVE Online for that, like it's not as popular as a game as say something like WoW. So that's the reason why it's not that prevalent in EVE.
Well,
Like,
it's
simple as that.
It's a matter of scale that you're referring to.
Yeah,
here.
very much so.
There's just a potential maximum of, I want to say, a few $1 million per month that you can launder in a game like Eve if you're really trying. But as the game,
I mean, I
scales
wouldn't
up
know
and-
the actual number, but like,
No. I'm just giving you an estimate of how much you could effectively launder, because we've talked about this topic before, and we had people looking into calculating and crunching the numbers and getting some reports from Noisy Gamer. So we've talked about this before, and especially back when there was all this drama and potential tinfoil hatting about Russians laundering money and sweatshops and stuff like that. But the point here is that that if you think about it, this is really about if CCP comes out with a game that has real money valuation, they're going to start tiptoeing into banking laws. And because then you can really effectively start laundering money through a system like that. And
well, there's
I don't think
not only that, but like they're going to be required by many different national financial institutions to be much more like observant of, you know, transactions, and have a much more scrutiny over you know, everybody's transactions in that regard.
Because it's really just all these steps that are possible to make if you have a game that's played to earn and cryptocurrency based, and the cryptocurrency has real money value, and you get all these exchanges. That's and it's an Icelandic company, and I think the financial sector remembers what happened in 07 and 08. I am not sure that they're going to be just ignoring the fact that CCP is creating something like this, because we have laws in the EU now that are quite strict when it comes to money laundering and amounts transferred.
So it depends, Caleb, because it depends on who is likely to make a lot of money based, through this, and if the right people are probably, if the right people are involved, then I imagine it's probably, some people that will look the other way.
Well,
In very much the same way that some people looked the other way when the '08 kind of like subprime mortgage stuff occurred.
Yeah,
By the way, just take a moment to address what I would not necessarily call an elephant in the room, but definitely an issue. Rage Master, no, they gave me their stuff, not their accounts.
Very different thing.
You can
very
you
different.
can give stuff away in Eve all day long.
I mean,
the
technically, you are not disallowed from playing on someone else's account. You are just not allowed to share the login details.
true.
Right, they'd have to come over every time and log me in.
Or
your
they have
roommates.
to come over, log you
Yeah.
in, and you change the login details.
That's true because then none of the details would have been shared at any
Yes,
point.
exactly.
Yeah. They would have been
So-
inputted, not shared, and the
Yep.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So we're at midpoint. We have a whole new crowd here. So welcome everybody to the show that's new. If you didn't hear my spiel earlier, I'm going to put a link in chat. This is a GoFundMe for the Big Red Boat and some kids that he is teaching in middle school. It's fantastic. Read it yourself. I'm not going to go through the same spiel I did before, but it's a good cause. Anytime you get underprivileged kids involved in positive things, I think it's amazing. He's truly doing God's work, in my opinion. So even if you got $5, you could throw it at him. I threw a bunch at him the other day. I know Brisk has as well, and some other folks. So thank you very much if you can. That's it. All right, let's go back. By the way, when you talk about banking laws and where they might fall into some of those things with creating their own cryptocurrency. Now remember too, in the this is what kind of boggled my mind in the conversation, right? He was talking about the API in Eve, right?
Yeah.
He kind of alluded to it's a drain on compute resources presently.
Yes.
And I look at that as a design flaw, right? I mean, it almost
kind of like
appears...
it's kind of like how requests can be used to push a server offline. You have a DDoSing, right? And DDoSing is basically just
sharding the database
requests
and things like that. And I'm sitting there I'm sitting there going, well, you don't really need to shard the database; you just need to properly replicate it without too much overhead. And it doesn't matter what technology you're using a database; you can certainly do that, right? Did you not set that up? I mean, that's the first thing that came. But he was talking about you're making this cryptocurrency in the game, and you're also paying it based on your utilization of resources to get data out of the game and present it to players, right? Meaning that McLeod, you've created.
I make a third-party app, right?
You make a third-party app.
Once some information.
You created eFood.com. Let's just pretend, right? And you're querying the system. Now you have to pay for that either with advertising or charging players to access it, right? And you could thus charge players to access it because he's created this open cryptocurrency, right? You can now charge players their in-game cryptocurrency and make money in the game to do this, right?
Well, I don't know. Like you're gonna have to sort of go jump through
because he was talking about
an
open model. He was talking about an open model, right? And effectively,
he was talking about gas prices. Yeah.
To me, it sounded like he was lifting a little bit of the veil of how they are going to monetize this.
So okay, so we need.
By the way, we're not talking about doing this Eve Online. We're using
EVE Online
examples to talk about the game, right?
We need to talk about gas prices and what gas prices mean when we're talking about crypto, because like when regular normal people, if you say gas prices, they think petrol prices at the petrol pump, right? Like this isn't what we're talking about. It is really it's an annoying analogy that they have, but essentially what it means is like if you want to publish something on the blockchain that requires paying some fees, like specifically for Ethereum, right? I don't think Bitcoin has this. It is something that I believe it was like developed specifically for Ethereum and for like the all the various different subcoins that have been, spawned off Ethereum essentially. But basically, what you have is you have a price for doing transactions, for minting something, or for publishing something to the blockchain, and that is what is commonly referred to as the gas price, which is essentially just a levy on how much it costs to to publish something to the blockchain. It's not super. I wouldn't say it's not super expensive if you're doing it just infrequently, but it ramps up if you start doing things very frequently.
Yeah, but I mean, he
and
specifically mentioned this because you're using compute power if you're a third-party developer, right? You're going to pay for that compute, right?
So
because
the idea is
some people write good code, some people write bad code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're gonna pay CCP in some form,
so
probably this
it's
in-game currency.
So
right?
you'll have basically a branch away from Ethereum as a specific coin bespoke to whatever project this is that CCP is making, that Hilmar is making, right?
Right.
And you'll pay in that coin, but that coin is basically a subsidiary of Ethereum, which you will have to purchase in some way, shape, or form, and go through these crypto exchanges to purchase it. And obviously, the crypto exchanges will take a bit of a cut for doing that exchange, and then CCP will take a bit of a cut converting that to their particular coin that you're using on the subchain.
I have a question about this whole thing based on the principle that Erik has just espoused, or that Erik has indicated Hilmar is basing his
one of the comments Hilmar made in the
right.
In the
It
thing,
was
right?
the whole people. Some people write good code, some people write bad code, right?
No, Hilmar specifically said that they do write bad code. He never mentioned good code.
He said third-party developers. You have some bad code out there which
my
runs
question
the
is,
APIs on the server.
That's fine. That's fine. My question is basically for Hilmar. Then when the hell is CCP going to start paying all of us for running CCP's code? Because it's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, definitely using compute on our machines.
Yeah,
they don't use much compute on ours. Their server thing, right? And that goes into the thing. And by the way, while I love Brisk, I'm pretty sure that the CCP cluster is not state of the art hardware. It is a bit aged hardware.
I'm actually sure that it's not.
But Arendis, isn't the controversial part that it sounds like CCP wants to take money from third-party app designers?
Yeah, they do.
And in my experience, third-party app designers in EVE Online has actually been creating features that were missing in EVE Online. So shouldn't CCP be paying them?
Caleb,
I mean,
as far as I'm concerned, the sketchy part of all this,
in a moral world,
okay, the sketchy part of all this is that you have a guy who basically for at least the last 10 years has produced nothing himself of value, just gone around playing frickin' IT buzzword bingo in PR statements, and he's teamed up with an investment house that has been linked to like a dozen different Ponzi schemes over the years.
Allegedly.
And they want your money.
I think we can cut the allegedly.
No, they definitely want your money, Caleb.
I'm just trying to safeguard you guys from legal repercussions here.
they can come and fucking sue me.
We're not a news show. We're commentary.
If they want to come at me, that's fine. I will refer them to the SEC filings against A16Z.
So what you're saying is A16Z has a few alleged SEC violations.
They've been linked to companies that have SEC violations
There you go.
as basically being the main
here's
investors in that
The
kind of,
main investors, the primary boosters, the people
And-
going, "Hey, buy these guys," and then suddenly their investments in those companies go away after everybody buys those guys.
yeah.
So what I really think Hilmar was alleging to, right? They've got this API engine, and it is using compute resources on their side, storage resources, whatever, however they have it designed, right? And they see somebody like Z Killboard querying that for free, and then he's got ads on his things, and he's making money off this website. But he's getting the data from them for free, and Hilmar wants a piece of that action. That's
yeah,
really what
and
it
you
is.
know, and it's like it's almost like, you know, we sort of try and partake in you know a shared sort of experience, but we're forcing CCP to use resources in order to keep that shared environment up, and that they should not be, you know, they should not have to suffer the indignity of having to pay to pay for that they should actually leverage that onto
But in my
us.
opinion, that's
I just find it offensive that they want
what
money.
Hilmar said
What
they
do you
wanted
think
to
the
do.
fucking what do you think the monthly sub is? Like, that's what that's for.
I find it very offensive that they're going to try and basically take money from people that are creating features that CCP should have created a long time ago. They're literally
Absolutely.
making features for the game.
But it's also par for the course with Hilmar.
And it's also one of the main reasons why, it's one of the main examples of why the community and why the game kind of like built up the way that it did, and is, you know, kind of almost self-sustaining in that kind of fact, is the fact that like we can, you know, bridge the gap between CCP's inadequacies in making certain kind of features and quality of life kind of things available for us by doing it ourselves.
Well, but that's the whole nature of EVE Online, right? It's the same with. What about the fact that
honestly,
all
dude,
the
like,
story?
there's so many games out there that like don't have the ability to create community tools and stuff like that, right?
Just Caleb's statement just boils down to the entire history of EVE Online. Players making up for CCP's inadequacies.
Well, but it's not wrong, right? Let's take something like the law and the story.
No, it's not wrong at all. That's what makes it funny.
There's nothing that they have created that's really worth anything. It's slightly entertaining, but it's like if a toddler is doing the backdrop to your theater. The real work has been done by the EVE players. There's like 2 entire history books written, and none of that is CCP's doing. So let's be fair here. CCP is just creating a fucking stage, and now they want to charge. They want to charge the actors for creating the content.
Let's look at
the
content that is actually CCP's. Okay, like the narrative stuff. The narrative stuff is fine. The narrative stuff I have no problems with. It's generally well done. Okay, but in 2023, this is still 2003 PvE across the board.
I'm just going to tell you right now, Rendis,
terrible.
You owe Wizards of the Coast so much money that it's not even funny.
Wait, why do I owe Wizards of the Coast money?
Aren't they the owners of the D&D IP now?
Yeah, because you created stuff
you have played that
system
game so long.
So you have to pay for that now. That's how that works now.
Hey guys, just so level set, because we have new people in here coming in the conversation, right? We are not talking this in context of it happening in EVE Online, right? We are using examples that exist in EVE Online, which seem to reference what Hilmar wants to do in his new game, right? The Awakenings game, and how they want to design it with like features and what they've learned in EVE Online and what they might be able to charge for, not charge for. That's kind of their blockchain concept. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about things that are actually going to happen in EVE Online, proposed to happen. None of that. We're just using examples. Just so
Hilmar in the video that we've kind of been diagnosing.
Oh yeah, does someone link that video real quick for the audience too?
Yeah, we can. But he was basically using the API as an example of something that like they already have, but they can iterate on using blockchain.
Right, and to address Caleb's issue there, I have to agree with chat. Okay. As far as like the Wizards of the Coast era, I have stuck with the third edition OGL, so they can bite me. And as far as anything not Wizards go, Gygax got my money long before he died. And I gave him a personal thank you many times at conventions for it. So Wizards can bite me.
I'm actually going to see Dungeons and Dragons tonight with the family.
But it is a problem in the whole development of social media, persistent gaming, quote unquote metaverse. I hate using that term, but the whole existence of games today is in a completely different environment, and we do need some sort of development. I just really feel like Hilmer and CCP's solution to be trailblazing on this new track is like bound to hit a brick wall, because I think they're going to get in trouble. I don't think they're
I'm
going to
not
make a
sure.
product that's extremely good. And if they do, they're actually potentially going to get into more trouble, because the bigger that success is with these kinds of things in it, the more visible it will get. We've had so many lawsuits. I know this is one of Mac's favorite topics, with loot boxes and all that shenanigans and monetization in gaming. It's just a horror show, and the market is saturated. We need a new round.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite topic. I think it's a topic that's important for discussion, especially when it comes to loot boxes, because it is literally like gambling allowed for children, which is just fucking reprehensible. But aside from that, the concern that I have, right, is when it with regards to like this idea that Hilmer has of like being able to sort of like, you know, change over currencies from different games, etc., right? Is that he has it in his mind that crypto will be this, like the means to which this will occur, right? And the issue is the reasonings why why he's thinking this is because it's easy, right? Because if you try and do it in a different way, then you kind of like you have to go through, you know, laws and regulations and all that kind of stuff, and you have to deal with banks and deal with all of that kind of stuff, and you know the legal repercussions of, you know, not providing like securities for various different people and their, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? The issue is that will eventually come to crypto in some way, shape, or form. It's just not there yet because banks and financial institutions aren't fast at iterating their kind of their safeties and securities and their sort of you know, all the legal kind of like frameworks to deal with like cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. They haven't gotten around to it yet, and it's been like fucking years, right? It will eventually come around, but like at this, but if he tries to sort of go this route and use crypto as a means to sort of tie these sort of like, you know, tie games and tie game currencies together, people will get scammed to the fucking ends of the earth, and they won't have any recourse in any way, shape, or form to kind of get anything back.
But I think what's really
None.
interesting
Well, that's
about
never
this
true,
area
Mac.
is that we have a merger of two fields of history, right? We have gaming and we have money, because that's really the two things that we have to look at this in its entirety. Where are we today in the gaming world, and how did we get here? What's the type of business? What's the monetization methods? What is this crypto thing and blockchain technology actually trying to do? And when you start looking at these things, there is no avoiding this in the future. We need to move into the next era. I just feel like this is a bit like holding self-printed cash money in the Wild West from banks that are about to go under. It's like so many people will end up being scammed and cheated of the values. And I think that's really
What do you think it's trying to do that is inevitable?
well. When that depends on what you're talking about. The reason they
that's
want
why I'm asking
money
what you're
into
talking about.
well, the reason they want money and value into games is because the virtual existence today is becoming real, right? The life on the internet is no longer like just a side hobby thing that you do when you get off work. It's an integral part of your life. So the way that existence then spills into what gaming then is, and gives that a whole new value and meaning, because it kind of gets this back and forth between metaverses. That means that we have to start acknowledging that our time spent in these persistent worlds have an actual value. How do you apply value and money into that model in a way that doesn't break everything? And this is why the history of money is so valid and important.
Look,
I think you're missing a very important
he'll-
part there, and that is why all these companies are trying so hard to monetize everything in their games, and that's because they made their development so much more expensive, right? When you have these big set piece games that have like motion capture and lifelike graphics and shit like that, you need to recoup that money somehow that you've spent on that development, right? But if you look at a game like Elden Ring, for example, that was the best-selling game of the last year, they don't have any of that, right?
Well, but this is about the motivation and the nature of persistency. Games that you play on, again, back to the Ludo mechanic stuff and what games are. If you're only playing it as a personal, individual entertainment thing, and it doesn't have the persistent elements and the call it real or pseudo real ecosystems and stuff like that, these games, it doesn't matter to them, basically, at least not that much. But
yeah, but I have another example for you then. Escape from Tarkov. It has persistence. It has a whole market system. It has all of that, right?
yeah, and any
they
game that
don't
has that
have
will
they,
have
they
an
don't
economy.
have any microtransactions. You buy the game and you own it,
Yeah,
all of it.
Eve doesn't have microtransactions. So the point is
No,
that
Eve does have microtransactions. You are
Eve is
wrong.
built on microtransactions at this point.
Yeah.
Like
all
all
the
of
skins
every
are
time you buy
microtransactions.
Plex, that's a microtransaction. When you go to buy their expert systems, that's a microtransaction. When you go to buy the new ship
skins.
packs and skins and crap, that's all
Yeah,
microtransactions.
but these are vanity, not utility. There's a difference, right?
They're not. Actually, the expert systems
are
definitely
not
are utility.
Mm.
The expert systems that go, here you go, I'm paying you some extra cash, give me access to these ships and these skills faster. That's definitely utility, man.
But that's one way. You can only get things that have that type of utility one way from real money.
That's
Yeah, it's a
lot of
microtransaction.
The point here is these items have a real money value as long as they are in a persistent world. This is not really a discussion. It's a reality, and it has been since the first online games came onto the scene. So how do you allow this wealth that's been built to actually be transferable between the actual users? Because it has only been siloed by the local community and the local governor in the sense of the game developers. This needs to change, and it will change.
Except that it's not being siloed by local communities and local governors. It's siloed by the fact that you don't own any of it.
I have a big issue for you though that you have to address when you want transferable wealth from one game to the other, and that's cheating. How do you deal with someone
Oh shit!
being
Yeah, good
banned
point.
in one game for cheating,
But
and he transferred his wealth into another game? How do you deal with that?
I already kind of covered that when I mentioned the fact that in the Wild West, each bank could print their own money, and that was not necessarily accepted a few towns over. The whole point of regulation and oversight and making sure that you don't get cheated and scammed left, right, and center, that would be the developer's responsibility. But right now they have no incentive because there's no real value in play.
But also, who's going to hold those developers to account if they don't, like, say, hold up their end of the bargain?
Well, this is back to why the reason it's important is because it will start getting into what would be considered pseudo banking and pseudo financial areas, right?
Yeah, but you're going to have to hope that, like, financial institutions are actually going to, like, you know, get off their ass and actually, you know, get with the times and actually, like, you know, modernize, like, all of their financial kind of practices to actually deal with this sort of stuff as well.
But think of this like the other topic.
Like they haven't even gone into crypto.
Okay.
Sorry.
The point is, compare this to when casinos and gambling was unregulated, right? There was no rules, there was no regulations at all. It was just you could cheat people as much or as little as you'd like, right? This is very similar. We need to accept that in the future, these kinds of games and these kinds of universes will have the added value of, call it democratization of the wealth, right? Because you can't have this indentured servitude model running forever. It's just not, it's not viable. It will collapse. It's why I think many of these persistent games are suffering so much, because they can't mature into the next phase of their economy, because it's just not scalable.
Okay. A couple things to keep in mind. First, very different situation between current games and casinos. Casinos, you walk in, you're gambling with money. That money is still money. And at no time is the money that you're gambling with not your money. You may be in debt, but the money you're holding is still physical money that you're holding. In these games, this is all the property of the company that owns the game server. Basically, logging into one of these games is effectively the ultimate company town, to take your 19th century America analogy.
And there's no...
But the difference is that there is no outside of the company town, because this stuff and the value it has only exists within the context of the company, and it already owns it all.
Well, but you're skipping the step that most casinos use their own in-house currency. You exchange that at the door, and that's the same type, not exactly the same, but it's the same type of you going to the bank. X amount of money comes in, and they control how much goes out. This is how run on the bank
because
works.
Here's the thing, okay? I walk into a casino, right? I cash in. I've got my chips. I walk out with those chips. Now, at that point, those chips, you can look at those chips as worthless, right? And to everybody else, those chips are worthless. But I still have those chips. I still have, in effect, the world's most expensive shot glass coasters. But I still got them. I log out. I uninstall. I turn off Eve. CCP still has all my stuff.
Yeah, and it still exists, and it's still yours as long as you pay service.
No, it's not mine.
Yes,
it's not mine. It is
yours,
expressly, according to the TOS and the EULA, the property of CCP. It is their data on their servers. What's more, any stories I create with my character, even if I write them outside of the game, are their property.
That's the IP.
My character is their IP.
Yes, and now Arendis is tiptoeing into the horrible land of licensing and.
Oh yes, like this is why. And for anybody listening, go ahead and check with the actual like case histories on these things. This is why every TOS and EULA out there will never see the inside of a courtroom. None of them are enforceable, and everything from Eve to Windows, the company will settle as fast as they feel they have to, but not 1 second sooner, to keep it outside of a courtroom because they don't want that shit going in front of a judge. Fluffy, no, because he doesn't play. That's just it. He's not talking about his characters. He's reporting on things people did.
He would have for the images. He would have got
any images. Images and any names, the images, and any actual technical data like system names, etc. I'm sure he paid a licensing fee for that.
Mm-hmm. He would have. Yeah.
Yes, me too. Brooks and Kings' videos are fundamentally CCP.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh,
the world of IP and rights is just a horror show. But
it's a horror show. It is
absolutely
a horror show. But hey, let's all keep in mind. It is now 8 months till a version of Mickey Mouse goes public domain.
And you're gonna abuse that like a mofo.
Me? No. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. But I will tell you this. It's a damn good thing Christopher Tolkien died when he did, because in 9 more years, The Hobbit goes public domain in the US, and he would have been fucking furious. Also, he would have been like 112, so... yes, the original set
books.
of stories.
Yeah. Not the Disney
ones.
Not
the Disney stuff.
I like those drawings.
Yes, Clear Skies is also CCPs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, we don't know what happened to the new Clear Skies video. It could
still be working on it.
They might still be working on it.
I mean, it's not like it's a huge production studio. It's like one guy. These things take time.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that CCP is tiptoeing into this with a new product, even though we have seriously no information yet what it is, which really bothers me. I haven't been able to get any really clear answers.
Apparently the new product, quote, will not affect EVE Online development at all, except of course for the fact that they've moved EVE developers over to the new project.
Exactly. Only man hours.
Well, I'm not sure how many were
no.
like actual devs, but they were definitely like there was definitely CCP staff that were in Iceland that are now like on this project.
But
also, Arendis, can you lean in a bit closer to your microphone, because you somehow keep getting quieter. I don't know.
It's a headset mic.
It's it's good.
Well, it's
I can't lean into it anymore. If I were to lean into it anymore,
hello.
That's the microphone down the throat kind of experience.
I don't even think they've confirmed that it's a shooter, right? They haven't confirmed that.
They haven't confirmed anything.
I think maybe the only thing
keep in mind we do have the unannounced first-person shooter that they keep telling us they haven't announced.
Yeah.
They are also,
and that this game is not that game.
That
doesn't mean this isn't another shooter.
They are also working on another project that I can't tell you what it is. But yeah, they do have another project going in the back.
Well, if it shows that if it's gonna become some sort of EVE 2.0 with crypto bro shenanigans, I'm not entirely against it. I think it's gonna fail horribly, and a lot of people will stand there with something in their hand. But I think it's worth the experiment. This is like when they did the VR. I think it's what CCP are supposed to do. I just think this one might become too controversial for their taste.
Become?
What do you mean? It's what CCP are supposed to do? What CCP are supposed to do? What CCP are supposed to do is to deliver product to their customers that gets a return on value for their shareholders. That's what they're supposed to do.
That's what all corporations are supposed to do. I'm just
Yes,
saying
very
that
good.
their fundamental mission statement and the actual name of the company implies that they should be front movers on something like this.
No. Well, okay, I will give you
That's
that.
just
I will give you that.
aspirational.
The first, the actual name, the actual original name of the company, because now I think it is just the letters. But the actual original name of the company, yes, that says that this is exactly what they should be doing. They should be trying to get as many people as they can staring slack-jawed into, oh, Hilmar, I'm going to give you money for nothing. Because, yeah, they're all about the crowd control. A whole lot of newly hatched birds.
Chicks.
Yeah, whole lot of newly minted tokens.
Actually, I have a really painful really painful injury on the palm of my hand from using a snake. Shut the fuck up, Caleb Sothenmack. From
Didn't
using
say
a plumbing
anything.
snake, and I was just an idiot and tried to do it barehanded.
Hey, friction burn is a horrible thing, right?
Now I'm thinking of you doing it not barehanded.
With a plumbing snake? Yes, Caleb. You're not supposed to use a plumbing snake barehanded. It's a coil of metal. Trying to twist it with your hands gets your skin ripped by the metal.
Ooh, yeah.
In a box in the basement for like the last 30 years. Before that, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I suppose we could go with in the pipe.
Where?
Well, the metal was when I was trying to use the snake.
All I got from this was that Arendis prefers to use gloves when he's playing with his snake.
In the pipe that I laid 30 years ago, Caleb.
Still, don't mess with my imagery.
Honestly, Caleb, if you took thank you. If you took the I laid pipe and thought that screwed with your imagery, catch the fuck up.
And the fact that it's not been used for 30 years is
no. The pipe has definitely been used. That's the problem.
It's been overused.
Yes.
No, it's just been infiltrated with a growth.
See,
okay. You're not making this better.
I'm not trying to at this point. Jesus Christ!
I was thinking. Chat's got this one.
Oh my God.
I got you. Thanks for the mute comment.
It's actually the PVC piping that I put down when I dug a dry well 30 years ago. It's for the washing machine, but
a dry well for your washing machine. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, there were 5 people living here at the time, and it was a.
Why didn't you just send the washing machine back out to the?
It used to go to the cesspool.
Oh, you have Okay, so you have you don't have public sewage.
Welcome to Plumbing Stories with Arendis with
yes.
So much subtext that you can't take it.
So you have a leach bed, right?
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
Anyway,
basically around where I live here, a lot of the original houses still have those.
Right. So it at the moment, because there are no longer 5 people here, I've put the washing machine going back out to the cesspool. Okay. But at some point, I'm going to have the dry well dug up to get the roots out. I just don't feel like shelling out the $2,000 right this moment.
Oh, so you have trees around your dry well?
There are trees all over the damn place.
Okay, I got you. I mean, I have a dry well in my backyard, but I don't have any trees back there, right?
Yeah, so. and the dry well, like I said, it's been there for 30 years, and.
Yeah. And we only use it for, the gutters around the house.
Yeah, this is just for the washing machine.
That's wild. But I never knew you could put a washing machine into a dry well. It's interesting to me. I bet you when you dig that up, you find all the missing socks.
No, I can. It's got a vent on the top that's open at this point, and I can look down and see the bottom. There's nothing in the dry well. It's just that there's a bunch of roots growing into the pipe, and so that's got to get dug up to get at that.
The PVC back to the dry well, or just the stuff around the dry well? Right, the dry well should have sand and stones around it, right?
The dry well is basically a ginormous hole in the ground that goes down into the sand layer and is built up like the outer wall of the dry well is cinder block.
Okay, gotcha.
I gotta say that this was a lot more interesting when we were throwing innuendos around.
I know it
it's
was
way more interesting.
That was good.
Exactly.
By the way, I want to say,
I know it was, but then I gave enough detail that Eric the homeowner kicked in.
Yeah.
You know those commercials, when you're becoming your parents,
no,
right? You don't need to, We just went right into that right here.
No, Eric, you want to hear the really sad part?
Yeah.
I dug this dry well while I was still in high school.
Oh, wow.
So
wow, yeah.
This personal issue is not a becoming my parents. This is a long-term vengeance against this goddamn fucking project.
By the way, Brisk just X'd up in chat and said it's a very special meta show today with a very secret guest.
And
I remember yesterday from the fight, right? He's got a super secret guest. And he's not telling anybody who it is, but it's not Matani.
I think we need the chronology.
Do we want to talk about the fight? Because
we only have a couple minutes left
to say about that very big fight yesterday.
Yeah, we have 20 minutes left. Let's talk about the fight.
Okay, so it was a Keepstar fight in tie-dye. So there were Dreads, and then there were Titans, and it came out 50-50. And the Keepstars reinforced. So basically, the most boring outcome ever. No one really won. No one really lost. Which
Keepstar was it?
It was
X47.
the X47, yeah.
And it was reinforced, and that is now it's going to be the armor timer or the hull timer?
No, hull timer now.
Hull timer. It was the armor timer, which was the important.
And they had
typically the
3
most
plates on it, right? 3 plates.
Even when it repairs, it then gets reinforced again. So I wanted to be sure on that one.
But yeah, the ISK war was pretty much 50-50. So no one really
didn't start out 50-50.
Side can spin this as a win, and if you see any side spinning this as a win, they are just idiots.
We won. Good guys won.
The objective was achieved. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like ISK, from an ISK war sort of standpoint, it was an even fight, but like the you can't understate it. You can't state it for any other way other than, Imperium won the strategic kind of battle in that front because we got the Keepstar
objective
reinforced.
Look, I would say we furthered the objective. We didn't really win it yet, right?
Well, the objective for that fight was to drive it to the hull timer because you were never going to blow it up on that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. I would say the ultimate objective is to kill the Keepstar, right? And
yes, but
that's the next
not the objective for that fight.
We're one further on the peg to that objective.
Yeah, it's like multiple stages of that objective.
Right.
And if we win or lose that objective, that we will see on Monday, right?
But the objective of that engagement was specifically to push it to the hull timer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what needs to be what needs to be underlined is to why this particular objective was so important, right? And the reasoning because if the defending forces have reasonable doubts as to whether if there's reasonable doubts as to whether they are able to not able to defend it, then it means if they put any heavy assets like any supercaps or titans down to defend it, they have to find a way to be able to extract those titans before the Keepstar dies, because if it does die, then they are in a precarious position to be able to not have any safe places to be able to actually extract their titans to. Right. And that's the thing. On an armor timer, even if you lose the objective, you still have the Keepstar there to dock up on, and take time to be able to extract those heavy assets. But if you lose the whole timer, the Keepstar dies and it's gone, and you don't have that ability to just dock up. Like, you will be surrounded by bubbles very fucking quickly.
Which is why a lot of the time, the armor timer is the only fight that really matters. The hull is not, in a lot of cases, even defended, really.
Exactly.
In a lot of cases, not in all cases.
Not in all cases. Yeah, M2 was the exception that proves the rule. At this point, we fully and entirely, we welcome another exception to that rule. Let's put it that way. Right?
Well, M2 wasn't the only exception.
Wow,
It's
Caleb
just
just
the
vanished.
most notable exception. Right?
Yeah,
because it was so big.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, I have a Don Ray update.
Titans can only dock in Keepstars, not.
Don said she's
You
sorry.
say that. I have a Titan in Thera.
You didn't dock it there.
I didn't dock it there. I spawned it there, and it's not in Tranquility.
So there you go.
So I'm gonna say Dawn couldn't make it today. She's very sorry. She had to go to lunch with her mother, and her mom dragged her to the rug shop.
Yeah, they're looking at rugs.
For rugs.
They're getting a lot of experience in rug pulling.
Yeah.
So they went to the rug shop for lunch.
No, they went to lunch.
Oh no, you're not going there.
Matt got it.
Everybody got it. I was just trying to mitigate it. That's all.
No, you're not. You totally went over your head.
McLeod can't even keep his head up. He's dying over there.
Oh, fuck's sake!
I bet you if we wait long enough, we'll see real tears over there at McLeod. Look, he's wiping away before they happen. He doesn't want anybody to see it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Just want to point that out. That was in no way a segue to the
I would have
unintended consequences.
I would have thought that had perked Caleb's ears up, but apparently not.
No,
Caleb's vanished completely.
Yeah,
I think he's taking a little squiddle or something out there. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Nicely
done, Arenders. That was well played.
Travis Stan, something about Jesus in his ears. I'm not sure what that means, but by the way, play has been suspended at the Masters this Saturday. If you look at the freaking radar,
too much rain.
Oh my God! So the Masters colors are green and yellow, right? And pretty much the radar is green and yellow. Now, the cool thing is, I don't know if many people know this little Masters moment. Okay, they have Gigunda fans under the greens, Gigunda, and they can either suck the water through at like 4 inches an hour or something, or if they're getting too hot, they can reverse the fans and the air comes out the top of it to keep the roots from burning up.
Wait, in tunnels underneath the underneath the fairways.
They can shoot the air up from the bottom out to cool the grass, where they can suck air into the grass to get the water.
I don't know why, but the blowing the air up kind of thing just made me think does that mean that technically you can turn a green at at one of the holes into basically one of those air hockey kind of games that you see in the arcade or used to see in the arcades?
I don't think it's quite that pronounced. You're not going to see.
Can you imagine it though?
Marilyn Monroe is not doing a photo shoot on the greens. I can imagine.
That'd be so fucking great.
But there is a great where
Caleb has reappeared.
Caleb, oh my God!
Can you imagine somebody going for a putt and then somebody turning the fan on, the ball just goes whoop,
just blows it away from the cup.
Blows it up. Yeah. I don't know how often they're running, and they certainly describe them well, but they do have the capability to really really have the ability to clean up those greens real nice. But right now, play is suspended. That's right.
Caleb, you missed the carpet munching section of the show.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
I know, right?
I know. Isn't he sad?
that is very sad. Was that some
know.
sort of golf reference?
It was not.
No, it wasn't. How do you get carpet in golf?
I don't know.
He
mini
came
golf?
back to a discussion about golfing greens, so he's
I
trying to
know
figure it
the
out.
greens at Augusta.
I was just trying to catch up. I
You know,
don't know if you were talking
the
about.
I'm sure I can lose as many golf balls on Augusta as I can anywhere else. So.
The
But you were talking about
topics on
something
the
about
show.
munching carpet, and then something about being in the rough or being in the green. I don't know. Maybe you were onto something.
No,
that would be
but there is the Erik Asmock destroy. Not replacing rough rules, right? If you're in the rough and you take a big chunk of grass out, nobody fucking likes the rough. So if you take a big divot in the rough, don't ever replace it. Okay?
That sounds like Kim
It helps
shaming
us
to me, but
to
it's
get
fine.
rid of the rough. All right?
Does that rule also apply on the fairway?
No,
so
they
does
do
a
not
good
have
close
fans
razor,
under the
but,
fairway.
No, I mean the
Yeah.
rough thing.
The
Like,
rough,
you
no.
take a chunk out
You
of it.
replace your divot in the fairway. Fairway's nice flat grass.
What about green?
Green, yeah, you better not be taking a fucking divot in green. But technically, by the way, there is one green, and I can't remember if it's the women's tour or the men's tour and the women's tour, but there is an actual green that is so messed up that it's like a circle. It's like a fucking donut. Okay? Now you're not gonna putt around the circle, right? You gotta go over the donut hole in the middle to the other side of the green if you're on the wrong side of the green from the pin, right? You are allowed to use, other clubs on the green. You can chip. Yes, if you make a divot, you got to replace it. But yeah,
You suddenly
we're
pay
back at subtext.
significant more green fees.
I mean, at those places, it's insane. It's insane. Which reminds me, I got to buy triple pack so my guests don't have to pay full greens fees. Got to do that today. But yes, but yeah, I mean, you can actually. And by the way, on that hole, I saw it on one tournament, and I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, they got out their lob wedge and right to the other side of the green. I was like, holy crap! I didn't know you could do that. I think you should have to putt around the green.
Sorry.
Okay.
I
can see that. I can see that.
With your little putter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Yes, I know. He replaces the divot baseball love. Same thing at Oakmont and a number of other clubs, right? Yeah. I love not replacing my divots and having the caddy do it, but you got to make sure you tip those caddies pretty heavy. Yeah.
Because they're not getting paid in other ways.
I don't, to be honest, I never asked. I do have friends who are members of Oakmont.
I mean, if it's like any other,
and I don't think you pay for the round because it's like in your fee. But you have to if it's schedule like a month in advance. It's insane.
If it's like any other like low level job in the US, yeah, you don't really get paid. You're just hoping and praying that somebody actually tips you.
I do think. I mean, tips for a caddy at Oakmont are like $150, $200 per round per player.
As opposed to those wonderful low level jobs in like Eve where you pay to do the job.
Yeah, you pay to do the work.
Yeah. You pay to provide utility to the community, apparently, or at least that's what they want.
Would that fall under play to win? Play to earn. Sorry.
All right, we got the.
No, that's getting paid. That's getting played to earn.
Well played.
So we're down to our last 5 minutes. Reminder to everybody: in about an hour 5 minutes is the meta show with a secret special guest. So make sure you do that. And since last 5 minutes show, I am going to throw Boat's. No, that's the YouTube one. Let me go find it. The Big Red Boat, if you didn't know, he has a fundraiser for middle school kids in his area, and he's trying to get them involved in sports. I think they're doing a big, they're going to run a 5K, right? And these kids have never done anything like that, and they're training 3 days a week with him. So that's Boats GoFundMe. I know I've donated, Brits has donated. A number of other people have donated here from Goons and other places. So even if you have $5 or something, throw it their way. I mean, any amount's appreciated. Certainly help those guys out, right? So that's my one last thing. I did it first, so go there and help those folks out. Let's go around the horn. Let's go to you first, Arenas.
Okay, my one last thing. Caleb, dude, nice having you back, man. Where the fuck you been? Lazy bastard. Been avoiding this fucking year now.
I think some drama made me crawl into a hole, but I'm back.
All right.
If thanks to McLeod, he pulled me out.
Well, I would say also thanks to Sothrasil because when I requested assistance, he decided to ping the whole of Bad Posters for it. That definitely helped.
Dude, like, I don't do the work myself. I have people for that, right?
Ooh,
Good point.
he's got people. He can't get people to help him get his camera to work, but he's got people.
That
subtle
doesn't
art
seem
delegation.
right. You're German. You should have that automated by now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Spring.
He likes to provide the personal touch in that regard. Just enough time to provide the personal touch, and that's it.
My turn?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, my last thing is actually directed back at Horrendous because I had a very funny experience, and it's actually a plug for a show for the actual audience. I had just finished watching Justified, and don't get me wrong, that was amazing. And we just finished the last seasons that were available of Succession, right? And then, lo and behold, I found Yellowstone, which is literally a hybrid of these two shows.
Ooh.
Yellowstone
It was
is
just
amazing.
a fascinating experience. Suddenly I had Succession in Western style with Kevin Costner and lots of cowboying and stuff. So very much a good thing to be following Succession and Justified.
Yeah, don't worry. Now that you've gotten hooked on the Yellowstone train, there's like 14 different spin-offs already.
Oh my God.
So,
Well,
one of them I think has Harrison Ford.
That's
well, the first one, right, is them getting there. It has Tim McGraw and his wife Faith Hill.
Yeah,
that's a good one. And I like the what is it, 1923? I want to see more of that. I like the blonde. She's pretty cool.
So do I need to go and look at some website about chronology and how to watch them in the right order, like when I do the Marvel thing?
So Yellowstone came first. The precursor is 1893 or something. That's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill as the two bringing them across there. And it tells you how they got where they got to build the ranch, right? And then 1923 kind of fills a little bit of a gap between there and the current one. And I think there's another spinoff coming. There's two other spinoffs. I think there's another one with Matthew McConaughey, and I don't know what that setting is. And there's another one where eventually one of the ranch hands,
and that one's just named All Right.
Yeah, it is. One of the ranch hands in the middle is sent to another ranch to learn. And by the way, the creator of Yellowstone bought that ranch. It's called the Four Sixes. And they're having a whole another thing called the Four Sixes. So Helen Mirren when she was young, pretty amazing. I love Helen Mirren
as an adult.
Helen Mirren in Red and Red 2. She's fucking awesome.
She was awesome.
She was great.
No, I'm not talking about the younger blonde that he perhaps meets in Africa. So anyway.
But yes, while I think we can all appreciate Helen Mirren in the Red series. Eric is absolutely correct. If you have not seen it, go watch Excalibur just for her. There are other good reasons to watch Excalibur, but she is definitely the only reason you need to watch Excalibur.
Now we're tiptoeing towards Caligula and stuff. If you've just finished.
Hey, I wasn't going to go for that one.
I'm just saying, if you've been enjoying watching the Rome series, there was other old stuff that you might be interested in as well.
By the way, yeah. Robot Meatball there's nothing that would have kept me away from. And by the way, I'm a bad golfer. Okay, bad golfer, high handicap guy. Okay. But yeah, I would have played Augusta both times. Absolutely, I've been invited to play Pokemon a number of times. Had the privilege. A lot of people don't get to play that. I'm very thankful to have played. I think 3 times now. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's great. So it's interesting to play a golf course where people are hand picking weeds out of the edges of the green. It's it's crazy. They don't treat them with chemicals. They hand pick them. It's terrible. So that said, who else do we have to go to? We did Arendis. Caleb, did you want your one last thing?
I finished.
Okay.
Mine was plugging my experience with Yellowstone.
Okay. Soth?
Yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing. McLeod?
I've got a couple of things. So
it's like a notebook.
If you could, yeah. So if you guys are unaware with what happened with the Keepstar, it's the Keepstars. What is it? I think the whole timer is on Monday.
Yep.
So yeah, Monday's going to happen, and the Keepstar's going to happen, and I mean, I think we're all taking bets as to what's going to happen with it in some way, shape, or form. My money's on it's dying. Whether some weird Easter miracle occurs for fraternity and suddenly it springs back to life, I don't know.
We call them fart
or fart, yeah, like that's their coalition, right? But you never know, right? But one of the other things that's happening, or could potentially be happening in real life space news, is somewhere between the 10th to the 12th. I believe SpaceX's Starship is going to do its first test orbital flight. And if it doesn't happen either on the 10th, 11th, or 12th, I think they're planning additional potential launch on the next Monday to Wednesday. So, yeah, hopefully that happens. Something to watch out for.
Excellent. Okay, and I will leave you with this. Don't forget about the GoFundMe I post. Do what you can there. Also, Meta Show, super ultra double secret guest coming on in an hour.
Yes.
Be there
Yep.
or be square. Thank you again, everybody. This has been the Push to Talk show here on the day before Easter, April 8th, 2023. Thank you all. We'll be back next week. Thank you, everybody, for all my co-hosts. Thank you. You've been awesome. Appreciate your time. And we are out of here.